Today we will be learning the third type of division. So our first type was division distribution, which we can only use when we are dividing by a monomial, a one chunk thing. Our second type of division was long division, which we use when we are dividing a binomial. Now synthetic division we also use for binomials. So dividing by a binomial. However, we can only use when there's no coefficient of x for the divisor. So we use synthetic division when we are dividing by a binomial, and we can only use it when there's no coefficient of x for the divisor. So you will have to know both long and synthetic division, but the nice thing is for a lot of problems, you can use the opposite method to check yourself. So I want to go back to the guided practice for a second. You don't have to turn there. On number 14, this problem has a coefficient in front of x, so you would not be able to use synthetic division for this one. Not to check it, not at all. So no synthetic division, period, because of that coefficient in front of the x term. Now, let's go ahead and talk about that word, synthetic division. What does synthetic mean? Fake division. So synthetic oil, synthetic cotton blend. So synthetic means fake. Yeah. So synthetic division is fake division. So if I think about division being repeated subtraction, synthetic division is barely division at all. So the process for doing this is a lot different. I'm not going to write down like the steps necessarily because it is more of a visual process. So here's how we'll begin. We will begin. First, we will need to check for power placeholders just like we did yesterday. So 3, 2, 1, constant. Any placeholders necessary? Nope. Then I go 1, constant. No placeholders necessary there either. So folks, that first step, checking for power placeholders, is the same whether you are doing long division or synthetic division, and also the format for our answer, quotient plus the remainder over the divisor, will be the same for these two methods as well. So folks, long division has the dividing house, synthetic division has the box. So we're going to draw a little box like this. What goes in the box is the constant number part of the divisor. We switch its sign. So if it's -4 in the divisor, it's +4 in the box. So switch sign for box. Next, we are going to list out all the coefficients of the dividend. So 2 for x cubed, leave a little space. -13 for x squared, 26 the x, and -24 for the constant. So it's kind of nice because we sort of just set the variables inside and say we're only going to focus on the number aspect of this. You're going to leave enough space for another row of numbers, and you're going to draw a line. So that's our setup. We first check the divisor to make sure we don't have a coefficient in front of our x. Then we take the constant number, switch its sign to put it in the box. Now how the process works. We start synthetic division by bringing down the first number 2. So that goes on the bottom line, which is going to be our coefficients of the quotient. What we do to start the iterations of synthetic division is we multiply that first number by the box. 2 times 4 is 8, and we write 8 in our middle slot. Then we are going to add straight down. Negative 13 plus 8 is negative 5. And that's one iteration of synthetic division. So we take the bottom number times the box. So negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. And then we add straight down. So times the box, add straight down. Times the box, add straight down. And that's why it's called synthetic division, because we're not subtracting at all, and we're not even dividing. We're just multiplying and adding. So when I add straight down, 26 plus a negative 20 is 6. So then 6 times the box is 24. Add straight down, and we get 0. And there it is. If you're like, there, what is? What have we actually found? At this point, we are done with the process, but the only kind of tricky part about synthetic division is we now have to turn this block of numbers back into our answer. So how we are going to do this is we are going to take the starting degree of our polynomial dividend, which is 3, and we are going to always subtract 1. So that our degree of our answer is now 2. We call the process of breaking down the degree to something smaller depressing the polynomial. So my starting degree was 3. When I synthetically divide, it goes down by 1. And what we'll see if we look at the long division problems that we did yesterday is this was the case with these two problems. I started with x squared, the answer is x. I started with x cubed, my answer has x squared. So when we depress the polynomial by dividing it, the degree always goes down by 1. So what we are going to do is take this new degree and put the variables in with these coefficients corresponding to that degree. So 2 will be my first coefficient. That's going to get x squared. Negative 5 is my next coefficient. What variable do you think that will get? 1x. So x to the first. Then 6 is my constant. So then what do you think the last item is? The remainder. And note, we got a remainder of 0, so that means this is a factor of that polynomial. And that would be our answer. Do we like it better than long division? If your answer is no, it's like, yeah, it is a little bit weird. Yeah, question.
So the powers of the x's, so did you, I'm a little bit confused. Did you just take it down?
Yep, we just went down by 1 each time. So we took our starting degree of the dividend, which is 3, subtracted 1, and that gives me the starting degree of my answer. And once I have that x squared, the rest of the variable powers go down by 1 from there. So this will always be 1 less than your original degree, and then the powers go down by 1 in descending standard form order. So folks, let's go through that process one more time. We see that it's division. We see that it's a binomial. There's no coefficient in front of the x, which means we can use synthetic division. We take the constant, flip its sign, put it in the box, and then we write out the coefficients of our dividend. To start the process, and this is actually the part that most students miss, is we take that first coefficient and we bring it down below the line. Then it's times the box, add straight down. Times the box, add straight down. Times the box, add straight down. Let's go ahead and jump to our next problem. First, we check for power placeholders. We go 4, 3, 1, red flag, and constant. And then our divisor, we go 1 constant. So what power are we missing? X squared or b squared. So 0b squared. So just like we need power placeholders with long division, we need them with synthetic division as well. So if it's -2 in the divisor, what are we going to put in the box? +2. So you always flip the constant sign, put it in the box. Then we list out the coefficients of our dividend. 6 for b4, -8 for b cubed, then the 0, then 12, and then -14. Making sure that we don't lose any negative signs in there, you take the full coefficient. Leave space for our next row of numbers. And then we start by bringing down the 6 below the line. Then our process is times the box. 6 times 2 is 12. And then we add straight down. -8 plus 12 is 4. 4 times the box is 8. Add straight down. 0 plus 8 is 8. Times the box, 16. See if you can complete those last few slots. Times the box. So 42 is going to be my remainder. So is b minus 2 a factor of that polynomial? Nope, doesn't go in evenly at all. How do we do with finding those items? Is it pretty good? Times the box, that's straight down. So now we need to turn this row of numbers back into a polynomial. So our starting degree is 4. So the degree of the answer is going to be what? 3. It needs to be 1 less. So now we start putting in the variables to match that starting in the degree, which would be B3. Sorry, B3. So the degree of my answer has to be 3. So that largest variable power with the first coefficient will be B3. So then what variable will I have with the 4 if they go down in descending order? B2, B squared. And plus 8, B plus 28. Now, how we handled the remainder is what we did back up with long division. We take the quotient and then plus the remainder over the divisor. So my quotient is this business. And then plus our remainder is 42. What's our divisor? Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. So sometimes students will say 2. 2 is what goes in the box, but what we're actually dividing by is that b minus 2. So don't forget that plus sign. And there's our final answer. Let's go ahead and, anybody have any questions?